You're listening to the PT Pintcast, where smart people in healthcare come to make noise. Here's your host, Jimmy McKay.
This is a fun one. After 45 years in physical therapy across clinical care, national advocacy, education, administration, today's guest is not leaving. I like this. She's stepping into something different, going towards, not away from, towards retirement. And we're going to find out what is in there. I'm going to guess a little bit of Peloton is in there. That's just my guess. What she's really stepping into is the next version of herself. Aren't we always? Like, we did that in like elementary school. You were a third grader. Then what'd you do? Became a fourth grader. So it's looking to step into something. I think this is awesome. Throughout those 45 years, she's been a champion of health promotion, national board certification, mentored hundreds of PTs. And she believes great PTs aren't defined by tools or techniques, but by the version of themselves that they step into. You see what this is? This is a perfect setup. She was born in the back seat of a car. We got to get into that. I love the little weird side things that we find out about people that maybe you never knew. And she's been in motion ever since. See what I did there? Born in the back of a car, been in motion. Got it. All right. Well, congratulations to Dr. Janet Bezner. Uh-oh.
Thank you. There
we go.
There,
there's a great intro. Janet, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
This is a pretty big deal. I think it was on LinkedIn. People were announcing, you were announcing your retirement and all those different things. So it's hard to ask a first question there, but I thought hard about the first one. You've had a 45-year career. I like to ask past and present questions. What did you think would matter most at the start, and what actually ended up mattering the most in your career?
When I started, I was really focused on being the best clinician that I could be. That was in 1981. Back in the day where whatever you did, you got paid for. pretty
I have
well.
heard about those ideas, like bedtime stories, once upon a time.
So, I think I just wanted to become the best PT I could. So that meant to me reps, learning, variety. I wasn't really sure, I don't think at that time, what I really wanted to do. And what I think really now looking back, what has mattered most, I think, are the relationships that I've had and made, and hopefully will continue to have.
Yeah. And that's the input determines the output, right? So if you're aiming to be a clinician, then your job would be read, learn classes, continuing education. And if you do that, then you're going to get this. But the funny part is if the thing that was actually most important was relationships, you approach that differently. At what point did you start approaching like, hey, I get more out of all of this, whatever this crazy thing is, a life or career, based on who I connect with and what I get and give to them? Did you start then changing your inputs to match that output? And if so, how?
I think I realized this maybe about 15 years into my career, when I realized that every job that I had was because of a relationship.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. And it is still true to this day. Every opportunity, every job, every significant encounter or activity or something has been because of a relationship. So I would say, yeah, definitely. I mean, my dad taught me never to burn bridges. He worked at the same employer for 35 years and retired and is in the Hall of Fame for his profession. And so I knew that. But then I think when I realized how important relationships were to my future, then I really thought, okay, I have to nourish. I have to, put into this and not burn bridges. Yeah.
Well, there's also there's a different mindset though. Like, not burning a bridge is one thing, but understanding that the time, effort, and energy into building a bridge is worth the bridge and then some.
Yeah. I think there's some overlap there. The things that you do not to burn bridges are also some of the things you do to nurse the relationship. But yeah. And, PT is so wonderful because it's a manageable size even today. I mean, it was a lot smaller when I came in, but you know, I have a lot of really close relationships. Our paths have crossed multiple times, and when I see you and when we talk, it's like no time has
Right,
expired.
right.
It's so great.
You've said leadership skills, not actual PT skills, are what
Mm-hmm.
let you create value and impact, though. But so,
Yeah.
what should PTs be doing now to develop these? And then I'll have a bonus question, which is, good luck trying to convince a motivated new grad PT to lean on these relationship things, which are like so soft and subjective, and I can't measure them, and I can't. How do I do? Like, so it's almost like you need to do some. You need to teach a kid to go to first, second, third, 12th college PT school and be measured against these things that you learn, and then hey, you're out. Scrap most of that. You learned it. Good. Now I want you to focus on all this stuff that we didn't teach you. Like there's some unlearning. Like you said, it took you 15 years.
Yeah.
How would you convince someone who's walking out of PT school now that it's actually the people we met along the way?
Well, I think people get into PT, a lot of them, because they love people, right? So they're already relationship focused, and they just don't look at PT that way. So I don't think it's a huge right turn or anything. I think having that conversation with PT students, which I do or did in my program, but yeah, I don't think it's a huge shift, and I think it's just the way that you think about it, and realizing that relationships are going to be the key to your success, and so you should nurture those skills, and they're the same skills that make you a good PT to a patient. I think, leadership is a different situation. I don't think PTs see themselves as leaders. Maybe more now that we're at the DPT degree, but man, I mean, I'm so grateful for the opportunities I had to become a leader in all these different settings, and then to realize, oh, there's a real set of skills here. And I'm working with as a consultant, and one of my clients wants me to build a leadership curriculum for a project they're doing. So I'm very excited about that, and it'll be available to PTs, OTs, speech therapists. I think it's going to be hard to convince them to pay to take it, but that's always a challenge. But I think we have to figure out how to leverage those skills, because that's what the profession needs to get where we want to go.
Agreed. What leadership skill did you resist early in your career that now maybe you swear by? Was there something that you were like, no? Isn't that funny? Like the thing we like say never winds up being always.
I can't think of anything. Like I'm one of those people that always puts their foot in their mouth. So I have a lot of courage. I don't really care when I make a mistake, as long as I don't kill anybody. I just do it again or learn or whatever. So I was one of those people that was comfortable putting myself out there. And so I don't think I ever resisted. I mean, there are several things that I really, it took me a long time to get better at. One of those things is when somebody is not accountable, so somebody's not doing their job, the way you approach that and the way you help them to see that they need to do it, it was a 180 for me. The way I started, I would sort of, throw it in their face and say, you didn't do this. Come on, do it. And that just never works. And so the way I approach people really has evolved. I would say I never really resisted anything.
My dad set the tone for me. My dad was a New York City fireman, and I wasn't a fireman. But when I took over my first radio station, half the radio station staff was older than me and had been in the profession and been a broadcaster longer. And the other half, even if they were younger than me, had been at that station longer than me. So I was like sort of the new guy. And my dad would just say, he gave me like this great advice, which was, your job is you work for them.
Yeah.
And you only have to be the boss if they don't do what if they know that they've been doing this longer. Your job is to allow them to do that. If they if they don't do that, then they're making you be the boss, the prototypical.
Yeah.
And that changed everything, where like normally I was like, well, you've got to be the loudest and the
Mm-hmm.
smartest and the first to whatever. And I'm going to bring the hammer down. And I was like, but I hated working for people who did that. And my dad was essentially telling me, you don't have to.
Yeah. No, that's great advice. He's right.
Yeah. The job was create a really great environment.
Yes. Yes. That was another thing I learned later, was the importance of culture. And I'll have to say, this last, 5 years of being at Texas State, I really feel like I was able to build this culture where the students can thrive, and every kind of student. Students come in. We have a class of 46, and students come in at all different places.
Oh yeah.
In terms of their preparation, and we were able to create a culture where every one of those students can thrive, and I'm so very proud of that and so grateful for that. And I wish I'd learned that earlier in my career, I'll say.
Picasso said, good artists borrow, great artists steal. What did you borrow or steal from other people? Were there like tools, or like I like stealing ideas from outside the profession? Like I forget the guy's name, but he was the guy who founded that Zappos, the online shoe. And he realized that he was the bottleneck at some point, that there were decisions not being made. So he made a rule: if it's going to cost you less than $1,000 to solve it, I trust you, go solve it. You're gonna have to explain it eventually, but solve it. And they saw their level of complaints go from like X to like almost zero. They were like, everything was less than $100 or like close to it. So is there anything that you like learned from maybe outside of profession that you like sort of stole and reeled in and brought it towards us?
Well, I would say the whole area of health promotion and wellness, for sure. Like, I was one of the very first PTs to even dive into that. And for me, that happened in the early 90s when I was doing my PhD. And, that whole body of work opened up a whole area for me that I knew nothing about. And I spent the last 30 years trying to figure out how to get that integrated into PT. And then others came along and have done a lot towards that as well. But the whole notion of prevention, I think PTs, we kind of knew it, but we were paid to fix, things, not to prevent them. So we weren't emphasizing it. So that's, I think, a great example of that. But then I'm like you, I read and explore lots of different things and different topics. And I'm sure I grab ideas from all kinds of other places all the time.
I've done 7 or 8 different videos about the company that makes the bike behind you. Like I look at Peloton and I'm like, look what they're doing. Like, look what they're really doing.
Yeah.
Like they made you and me pay a couple grand for a bike. That happens. But then a lot of times it becomes a laundry rack, right?
Right. Exactly.
They're able now, through technology, they can track who uses it, how often, how long. If you've looked at the updates, we're recording this in early 2026. It's now it always had really great data, but I got to be honest, I was just like, the data I would look at, how many times in the last 30 days compared to the previous 30 days did I get on it?
You're right.
But now it's able to crunch the data and be like, hey, listen, your average watt per ride is up 15%. That's great. And I'm like, huh. And then it's suggesting, it would be great if you threw in a couple strength classes there, Jimmy.
Right.
I look at what they're doing is it's a bike company, but really it's a health sort of motivation, promotion, integration.
Yeah.
They're making gamification. Have you tried Lane Break?
Yeah, no, I have tried it a couple times. It's really good. I like it.
It's goofy and dumb. It's a video game.
Yeah.
But my guess is they're tracking how many people are using all these different features.
Oh, yeah.
And the ones that get a little pop, they move that to the home screen. And they I asked this question. I'm actually going to do my podcast live at APTA New Jersey's student conclave this weekend.
All right.
And before I start the show, I try to I'm this is when you've made it. I'm my own opening act. I don't rank well enough to have an opening act. And the question I ask, because a lot of the students have no idea who I am, that's great. I will ask, how many of you are preparing to enter show business, and none of them raise their hand, which is on purpose. And then I say, so you're just going to tell people how to do exercise. You'll never show them. You'll never create a story that shows them what, if they listen to you for 12 weeks, what they'll become. And that's when people start to get antsy in their seat and be like, well, I guess I am. And then that sort of goes back to like, you're promoting health. It's hard to track when you prevent something.
Yes.
But that's what the smart research people are for. That's what they're for. They're saying, hey, if we do this 100 times, this only happens 12, not 29.
Right. And that's the challenge, right? Because the payoff for all that stuff is down the road, way in our future where we're not even focused. And so if we could figure out how to really capitalize on the day-to-day payoff, which is there, people underestimate it. That would be money in our pockets.
Well, congratulations. Now that you've retired, I would like to nominate you for being, you get to try to solve that big
Okay, thank you. It's interesting, already. So I retired December 31st, but the last day of work, official work, was the 23rd. So I've had, week and a half or so. And already my mind is more open. It's so cool. Yes. Like I usually I think I was spending a fair amount of time thinking about what's on my plate this week and how am I going to solve this problem? My job was just, I had the ultimate middleman job. As a department chair, I was an associate dean. There's stuff coming from up here, stuff coming from down here. And it's like, oh my God, what do I pay attention to today? And so I can already feel the space in my brain. And I hope that I can spend some time really being thoughtful. In fact, that's my word for 2026, thoughtful.
Good.
About things that matter, that need to be thought about. So I'm looking forward to that.
I love that. All right. So you're big on the idea of showing up as your best self. But what is that?
Yeah.
I've heard that phrase before. What does that actually look like? How do you develop and how do you know how do you know when you do it?
Oh, that's such a great question. So I think it's very individualistic, obviously. It's figuring out, okay, let me say this. It's knowing what you're naturally very good at, which most of us can do in our sleep. And when we're at our absolute worst, we can do that. But we're not all good at everything, right? So there's a lot of the things that were required in my most recent job that I was not natural at, that I had to work at. So in order to deliver on those things when I needed to, which most of the time didn't warn me, hey, you're going to have to do this tomorrow. It just showed up. I had to figure out what allows me to have the most energy around that. So for me, it's very simple things: getting a good night's sleep, regularly exercising, eating things that nourish me, not that drain me, having connection with people, having, meaningful, intimate connection with people, things like that. Some alone time. I'm an extrovert, but I still need a little alone time.
Yeah.
So things like that. And so I think it when you can do the things that you don't like and that you don't look forward to, and you notice yourself going, oh, I'm not so anxious about that. I think I got that.
Have you ever read the book or heard the paradigm, the 6 types of working genius?
I don't know that one.
So this one essentially breaks what you're saying. They sound similar. It just, it doesn't list what tasks they are. It lists what types of tasks.
Okay, got it.
I worked for a boss years ago who was like, Jimmy, if you ever want to rise in rank in this company, we're going to need you to get better at spreadsheets. He's like, you're terrible. And I'm like, yep, I don't disagree. And then I asked a question back to this guy who'd been there for 25 years and was sort of like one of the resident experts. And I said, hey, the people here at this organization who are good at spreadsheets, are you telling them to get better at communicating verbally?
Right.
And he's like, no. And I'm like, then why don't I just do more of the thing I'm already good at? And then we get one of those spreadsheet people who could do that in their sleep, and we have that do it. And here's why. I'm going to spend this much effort getting good at spreadsheets, and I'm going to get this much better. Or we let me do the things you hired me for. And I know this is going to shock you. He did not like my response. Because in his mind, he's like, be well-rounded. I'm like, but I'm not here for spreadsheets. That doesn't give me energy. In fact, I would see spreadsheet day on the calendar and I would dread it for the month preceding that.
Yeah, for sure. You know, and it's interesting, the strengths-based evidence and approach. Have you heard about the strengths-based approach?
Maybe.
Does that ring a bell? Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, you know, when I started work, for example, back in 1981, a typical annual evaluation with my boss was, here's what you do really well, here's what you don't do well, let's work on that. You need to really focus on what you don't do well. Yes. And the strengths-based approach says, you know, just do what you're good at. Well, it's awesome in theory if you have the ability to carve out a job where you're only relying on your strengths. I have never had that job. And I've always been in a sort of an executive position, a leadership role where, you know, you have to be good at everything. You have to be good at the spreadsheets. You have to be good at the people. You have to be good at the policies. You have to be good at budget. And so for me, I need to bring my best self so that I can do a good job at those things that I'm not natural at, or else it just sucks the life out of me. And, you know, I'm one of those people. I've loved every job I've had. I've loved every position I've been in. I've loved almost every day of work. I mean, work never felt like work to me because I love my profession. I love what I was doing. And I have some, you know, some desire and some motivation to do a good job. So, so for me, I never had the luxury of only doing my strengths, but some people can. And if you can, I support that.
So Working Genius was less about, it was more about the type of work and did it give you energy? Did it suck energy, or was it neutral? So essentially I wasn't planning on going here, but this is what it looks like on the screen. I'm getting a pop up there. So essentially it just says there's 6 types.
I see.
Wonder, and of course it magically spells the word widget, which if you're going to write a book, make it spell a word, right? Make the acronym, right? So wonder, invention, discernment, galvanizing, enablement, and tenacity. And it goes into what those things are and yada, yada, yada. But what it says is all of us, of course, if you're going to have a paradigm, make it work 100% of the time, because that way people will buy your book. It's that all of us have, it looks like a stoplight, green, yellow, red. It's like all of us just naturally have green as 2 of them, yellow, and they're all different, and red is 2. And by red, it's like if you only did this task all day, you're gonna go home feeling like you got hit by a truck, and you're gonna want to crawl in your bed and pull your blanket over your head. Now, you might have to do some of it, but as long as the greens outweigh the reds, and then like me being an accountant, like I'd rather just cash everything in and just go live in the woods. Couldn't do it. I bet people who are good at accounting would be like, speak in front of people and do whatever on the fly. Not a chance. Now, do I want to have that accountant like, let's send you to public speaking and let's triple down. You're going to lead our podcast. That person might hate it and be bad at it. Or do we just let the person who's good at it and wants to do it? Now, if there are parts of your job that you need to get done, it's saying you can plow through one of those red activities, but it shouldn't be 90% of what you're doing, or you're going to hate the environment.
Yeah. No, I think there's a lot of wisdom there. I mean, I see people, good faculty, good researchers being put into administrative roles all the time, and they should not be put there.
That's the Peter principle. Have you ever heard of the Peter principle?
Yes.
For the audience, it's you're good at you're good at digging ditches, and then you get promoted. Now you're in charge of everybody digging ditches, and maybe you're okay at that. Right. And now you're in charge of the thing above that, and you're not good at that. So we don't promote you anymore, but we also leave you there. So the idea is, the line that sticks with me is, we rise to the level of our incompetence. And then you have an entire organization where people are actually one step above where they should be. And that is a travesty for them and everybody around them and the entire organization.
Yeah. No, I think it's right. I mean, we should be moving into organizations and positions that really fit our skill set. And that's another good piece of advice for the young therapist,
Well,
think
talk,
about that.
talking to the young therapist, you've worked with
Mm-hmm.
PT students for decades.
Mm-hmm.
What's something or some things that they wind up worrying about too much, and what's something they don't worry about enough, or at least think about enough?
Yeah. That's that's I think that's my answer is very generationally influenced. Like this generation now that's in our classrooms, they're really concerned about money, like more so than any generation I've seen since mine. My generation wasn't. And I'm not saying that disparagingly. They I think they're over focused on money, and I don't know where that's going to lead them. I'm interested to see. Um, I'm afraid it might lead them to too much job hopping. And I think they should be more focused on getting in a position where they can learn and grow, whether that's through mentoring or support or colleagues or whatever. So that's the current generation. That's the advice that I would have
Yeah.
for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't chase the money,
Yeah.
chase the mentors
Yeah.
the people.
Yeah. That's a great way to say it. Yeah. Yeah. And also and through mentoring you build your skills. So think, prioritize building your skills.
Yeah.
And that might mean that money has to take a second or third seat.
You've heard a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, I've heard a lot of people who wind up with money say it wasn't the thing I was aiming for, and then magically it showed up.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
if you chase this thing, it winds up being the most elusive thing. But if you chase a great story, if you chase a great
Yeah.
meaning, magically the money shows up. And I know that's easy to say and hard to do.
Yeah, no, I think it happens a lot. I mean, I would say it happened in my case. I'm doing a lot of money examination right now because I don't have a paycheck now. Making sure I can support myself for the rest of my life, and I've done great. And I've been a PT clinician and an educator, and now I don't have children, so there's not a lot of stress there, but I've done really well, and I never chased the money. That was never my priority. And and I didn't. I would say I didn't really worry about it. I was a good steward, but yeah. So I think I'm an example, perhaps, of that. Yeah.
Profession wide, zooming out all the way.
Yeah.
What do you hope the PT profession risks more in the next 10 years? Where should we push our chips in that maybe we're not? What should we be bold on? What should we be bullish on?
Articulating our value without a doubt. Boasting about what we do and what we give people, because the powers that be really don't care.
Until you make them care.
That's right.
Until you tell a story that explains what
Yeah.
shows them, right?
Yeah, we've got to be more. We've got to have more ego, or else we're going to be left on the sideline. We have to put ourselves out there, and I think by nature PTs aren't comfortable doing that, and I think in part that's why we're where we are. We got to figure out how to do that and do it in a way that feels okay to us. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go super zoomed into you.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're in I'm not good at math. We're week 2 of retirement. What's two things? What's something you're proud to carry with you, and what's something you're glad to leave behind?
Okay. I'm going to do the later first. Glad to leave behind not waking up at 5:30 and not driving on I-35.
Good.
That's our freeway.
Wake up at 5:30 and hit the Peloton right behind you. To do that, you pedal there.
No, how about 7?
There you go. Even better.
So I'm really glad to leave behind the grind of getting up, getting to work, being in the office every day. That was weighing on me. And what I'll take with me is all those great relationships I built. Yeah. It's been so wonderful to hear from people as I've been putting out on social media that I'm retired, and I've heard some from students I haven't heard from in 20 years. So I hope just to keep connecting with people, and I'll take that with me.
I mean, the people that you wind up mentoring, the dozens, hundreds, whatever, they've probably, I'm imagining, gotten into some really interesting, weird corners and levels. They've climbed ranks and gone places that, you know, almost like that Dr. Seuss book, right? All the places you'll go.
Right,
like
exactly.
That's got to be pretty cool if you look back and look at yourself as, I guess we're always a branch on someone else's tree, but you're also the roots of other, you know, your own tree.
Yeah, no, I love hearing their stories and learning about what they're doing and how they got there. I think that's really, really cool. So yeah.
I got to be honest, like, I'm not pitching here, but a great idea for a podcast would be one interview with someone you've met along the way per year you were in the profession, and you got yourself 40 something episodes, right?
Yeah, exactly. No, you're right. That's cool. I like that idea.
All right, last thing we do every episode, we call it the parting shot.
This is the parting shot. One last mic drop moment. No pressure, just your legacy on the line.
All right, no pressure, as the guy said, just your legacy on the line. Now, what's the thing you want to leave the audience as we wrap up? But by the way, just because you're retired doesn't mean you can't come back on the podcast. We don't discriminate against people who are retired.
I would love to.
What's the last thing you want to leave with the audience today?
I would say, invest in the soft skills. Invest in developing your soft skills, your ability to listen, your ability to be empathic, your ability to connect with people. That really makes life rich.
I've done it. I did it at a small conference, and I think I talked to somebody else about doing it at CSM potentially next year. I already have the title. Why are these soft skills so damn hard?
Yeah, that's great.
We should teach them, number one, identify the problem, and then give people a handful of skills to then go out and solve and do Hey, I'd say congratulations. That feels final though, but I'd say well done. And I'm sort of excited which direction you're going to go with this next. Now that your head isn't moving linearly, you're going in all directions with your thought process. That's great.
Yeah. One thing, I'm going to learn how to make pastry. Like really good pastry, all the pastries. I want to learn all the different doughs, and I want to just do your basic croissant, and I want to do like the savory pastry. So I'm going to take a class. I might take a boot camp. I found a boot camp in June, 1 week of class, boot camp, and I'm just going to make pastries for my friends, and hopefully they'll give me feedback until I perfect it.
New podcast idea. In person, we record and you make 6 different pastries, and then we try the pastry, and I get to ask you one question.
Okay, deal.
Janet Bezner, hey, congratulations and thanks for sharing some wisdom.
It's been fun, Jimmy. Thank you.
That's it for this one, but we're just getting warmed up. Smash follow, send it to a friend, or crank up the next episode. Want to go deeper? Hit us at ptpintcast.com. Or find us on YouTube and socials at PT Pintcast. And legally, none of this was advice. It's for entertainment purposes only. See, Keith, we read the script. Happy now?